On Outside the Box Reviews, we are taking a look at the Blizzard Entertainment StarCraft Protoss Zealot figure. Since NECA's new Heroes of the Storm figures are hitting stores now, I figured I would lead up to reviewing those figures with some other Blizzard character figures that I have in my collection. And while these aren't the oldest figures I've reviewed on this channel, these are probably the figures I've owned the longest that I've reviewed on this channel. These figures came out in 1998, I picked them up then, and you'll see as I go through the three of them, they're a little worse for wear just from years of not treating them so well. I should also note that I have seen some references online stating that these are made by a company called Toy-Com. Everything I could find just alludes to these being Blizzard Entertainment figures. That's the copyright they have on them. I believe the second wave of figures that came out was done by Toy-Com, but this first wave is just credited to Blizzard. The Zealot does come with two accessories. His little energy sword beams that will come out of his wrists. They're a nice blue translucent plastic. They look decently enough like they did in the video game. They did give him a nice irregular shape that kind of matches. For that, you'll just take your Protoss's arm. There's a little slot there. Pop the effect piece in there, and you're good to go. As far as sculpt and paint applications go, for a figure made in 1998, I think they did a pretty nice job. This was actually probably one of the first action figures I ever owned that wasn't so much of a toy as it was a collectible. And I think that's part of the reason why he's a little worse for wear, because I think I treated him more like I would my Ninja Turtles, rather than how I would probably treat a NECA figure now. But the head is really nicely sculpted, very classic looking Protoss. It's got nice yellow eyes, all the little bumps and lines in there. His head kind of flares out in a Predator looking idea. Got the kind of pseudo dreadlocks coming down off the back. This is somewhat of a softer rubbery material, so it is a little pliable, but it's decently sculpted. We have these silver little beads on here, then the cap at the end of it. In front of his face, he has his little guard piece here, which is a little loose on mine, but it's nicely detailed on there. He's got his blue jewel in the center of his chest, and the big arching arm guards here, and the pauldrons over his actual shoulders. See his bare arms coming out, nice striping that matches the skin tone. Big gauntlets here with another translucent blue crystal. We have his cool looking hands, very alien looking. He's got the double thumbs, almost like the big chap alien, and then the two fingers in the middle. You can see on this side it's actually ripped and coming apart, so that arm's barely on there. Down around the waist is part of the armor I like least. You can see he has his little skinny alien body there, and then we have the kind of big pieces coming up around. There's some great battle damage sculpted on here. It's a little bit of silver paint in there, making it look like scratched up metal, but some nice dents and dings. Then we have the big wide pieces coming off here on the sides. They plug in on the back, and this actually is a removable piece. You can actually pop that right off the figure, but it just makes it very awkward to position this figure at all. Coming down the legs, we have some more great battle damaged armor. You can see the kneecaps are all chewed up, some more detail on the side here. Very nice brassy gold color to it, some silver and brown piping in there. We have his back bent knees, a little kind of blade back here, then his weird hoof looking feet, more battle damage throughout, but overall a pretty nice sculpt. For articulation, it's very, very limited, but kind of what I'd expect from a figure from that era. He has a swivel at the neck, so it will turn side to side. Of course, with this big braid coming off the back, it is a little awkward and you can't go super far with it. The arms will swivel up here at the shoulders. Now there are holes in the arms, which led me to believe that there was a bendy wire in here, but if there is, it really will not let me pose the figure at all. He does have a bend at the elbow, once again using this very soft plastic that it uses for the arms, so that's why the other side is ripped on me over the years. You can rotate at the wrist. Rotate at the upper torso. The legs look like they should be able to rotate, but I don't believe they do. He does have a hinge at the knee with a pretty good range of motion, as well as a hinge at the foot. However, because of the way these legs are sculpted, and because of the somewhat lacking range on the foot, you really can't get him into any stances beyond just standing upright. And also with the shoulders being so limited, you really can't get the arms up and ready for battle either. He's kind of just stuck in a very static vanilla pose. And for a size comparison, here's our Protoss Zealot next to a Predator, which I think is about the closest comparison we can make as far as character design. Sad little thing to admit here, I actually played StarCraft right when it came out, but it was before I had really ever gotten into Alien or Predator, so playing the game I really didn't realize that they were basically just completely referencing the Alien Predator universes, among other things. But I think the Protoss were supposed to be pretty much straight up Predator clones, and I think if this Protoss didn't have his knee he's quite so bent, he'd probably be decently in scale with the Predator. So overall, this Protoss is not particularly great. I think the soft plastic used to create it was a really bad choice, and it really can use some better articulation just by the design of the character. So this figure is going to get a not recommend, but to me this is the weakest of the three. So hopefully the other two fare a bit better. I think it would be really cool to see an updated version of a Protoss from NECA. Make sure you check me out on Instagram, username Outside the Box Reviews. Also follow me on Facebook, link below. And until next time, this has been our Outside the Box Reviews.